let's just have a look at what this potting mix looks like. I'm going to take you guys down closer to the bag and show you why it is not a wise idea to start your seed in potting mix. When it comes to starting seed, giving each seed the best opportunity to germinate and to grow should be the goal of every good gardener. And it starts with the medium in which we put our seeds in. So join me today in this video as I show you how to make seed starter mix. Here we have a bag of vermiculite. We have our perlite down here, peat moss over here, and we have some topsoil right here. I went ahead and picked up this potting mix. I'll also do a little comparison with what they have in these mixes and selling them so expensive. So let's do this one. For a lot of you guys, I know that you're in the middle of your summer. Soon start to cool down by end of August, September. I'm not even in the prime of summer as yet. The hottest month for us is in August here in Central Florida, so I'm not seeing the peak of summer as yet. But with this shade house or greenhouse, I can go ahead and start a few things. So firstly, I'm going to go in with my peat moss. I'm going to be using 4-part peat moss. And this is very compact, so I'm going in with 4 of this container with peat moss. And you can do your mix similar, but if you're going for less, you can use a smaller container, but the parts can go as I'm doing it here. So 4-part peat moss of whatever container you're using to 1 part perlite and 2-part vermiculite. So this is what 4-part peat moss is looking like. I'm just gonna spread it out, and then I'm going to go for my vermiculite, 2 parts. This is not the super fine vermiculite, but after getting wet, it's gonna break down a whole lot. Should have a mass. So I'm going in, that's 1. So that's 2-part vermiculite. And if you can't find all of these to make this mix, you can go ahead and buy your seed starting mix. It is much convenient. However, in the long run, this works out to be cheaper when you buy it by the bulk and make your own mix. If you're wondering and you're asking what you're going to do with the remainder, they can go in your garden also. They can make potting mix. You can do a whole lot with it. You can put down some for even next grow season. So we're going in with 1 perlite. And the perlite is not compulsory. It's just, I wouldn't say it's for beauty because it's a water retainer, but you don't have to use perlite in your seed starter mix. And I'm just gonna go and massage this in, getting everything evenly. Let me move this out of my way. I'm going to get everything in evenly. With the peat moss, if you're going to be starting your seeds indoor. The peat moss, you're gonna need to sterilize it a bit because you don't want to be taking any bad bacteria or pest inside. So for this mix, you can substitute the peat moss with Coco Coir. A lot of people do that, but whichever one you have will work out. Many gardeners will say that the peat moss is acidic, but this whole acidic thing that gardeners are talking about, it is not as acidic or that acidic to be of any detriment to your seed or your seedlings. It is not that bad as what they're making it out to be. So you can start in your peat moss or you can start in your Coco Coir, but I'm just going with peat moss because this is what is available to me. So now that we've gone in with 3 or 4 ingredients, final one is soil. I'm just gonna put a bit of this topsoil in it now. We don't necessarily need this topsoil also in our starter mix, but I'm just a strong believer of soil in all mixes, so that is why I'm going in with some topsoil. And this topsoil, it is not much per se because it's mostly wood bark, even plastic is in this thing, but I just want a bit of dirt within my starting mix. So I'm just gonna mix this one in again and try to get it evenly distributed. After this, I'm gonna be misting this with some water, just regular ambient temperature water. I'm gonna be putting in some water into this. Some people will also put boiling water to kill out some of the bacteria out of this. Nothing is wrong with that, but I have no need for that because I've never had any problems bacteria in my peat moss and starting seeds. So I'm just going to take it this simple way, the way that I've always been using it, and show you the comparison with that bag down there. Even though that next bag that we have down there, it is not a seed starter mix, it is a potting mix. Many people will buy those to start seeds also, but they're quite expensive. So I'm just giving you guys an alternative, but for convenience, you can go ahead and buy your pre-done seed starter mix also. This is what your starter mix should be looking like. You shouldn't have large chunks of sticks in it. You should have very small pieces like these, or even smaller, if you don't want anything to be shielding those seeds from getting sunlight or to be blocking those seeds from getting sunlight. So this is a fluffy mix, and I'm just going to go in now and give it a little bit of moisture. I'm not going to wet it too much. I just want it to be spongy like, just to get a lot of these to start binding together before I drop them in the trays. With your peat moss or your Coco Coir, they're going to take quite a bit of water. These things absorb a lot of water, and they do expand also a little with water. But ensure that you don't start putting in your seed into a dry seed mix, whether it be peat moss or cocoa corn, because most of the time what will happen is you will water, the top will look like it's totally saturated through, but then when you move away you get something like this. So you will have the top looking wet like this, but as soon as you move it away, everything is dry. So your seeds will be underneath and everything will be dry, and you have a wet surface, and you're there thinking that your seeds were properly watered. So I've been using starter mix for a couple of years, and I realized that you have some seeds that does way much better starting in a starter mix than putting them in ground to start them. So seeds normally have everything they want to start germinating and growing, except they're lacking water, correct temperature, and oxygen. So with a proper starting mix, we can give those seeds all of those so that they can germinate and grow properly. This is also where a potting mix is totally different from a starter mix. Seeds don't necessarily need any form of nutrient to grow or to germinate. What they need is a loose medium in which they can spread root and start growing. That's all your seed need for the first stage of its life. A potting mix gives you soil, maybe a few of these components in this, with also fertilizer, and your seed don't necessarily need any form of fertilizer to germinate or to even start that seedling stage, of growth. It don't need any form of fertilizer. So you can go ahead, give your seed, ensure that it gets proper sunlight or lighting, because you can use grow lights. Ensure that you keep it moist, and just ensure that the root system has something to latch onto so that it can get water from it. Some of the differences between a potting mix, and I have a potting mix right here that I bought for demonstration purposes, is this right here, fertilizer. Most of your potting mixes are going to have fertilizers in them. You don't want that for your seedling or your seeds most of the time. Fertilizers can harm your seed. It can burn seeds also. These mixes are just not made to start seeds in. Yes, you can start seeds in them. I've started seeds in them over the years and I've gotten success. However, I've gotten a lot of failure also. These mixes tend to be more chunkier than your starter mix. It has fertilizers in it which can harm your seed. All your seed needs in the initial state is a fluffy medium, something that it can send out root in, and those three things that I told you about: proper temperature, water, and oxygen for it to germinate and start growing. So let's just have a look at what this potting mix looks like. I'm going to take you guys down closer to the bag and show you why it is not a wise idea to start your seed in potting mix. So this is our potting mix right here, and you can see we have some large trunk of bark, which these can cover your seeds and block light from your seeds, and your seeds need light to germinate. So your rate of germination may decrease if you use a potting soil. Let me just put some up here in this container and just show you guys a proper comparison. So this is our potting mix right here, And this is going to be our seed starter mix that we just did. And you can see the difference. This is way much barkier, and this may cover most of your smaller seed, your tinier seed, and prevent them from germinating. Whilst over here, this is much smoother, much finer. This is a much better medium for you to put your seeds in, for them to germinate and start growing. So in essence, in the early stage, your seeds just need a fluffy mix or medium for it to send out root, absorb water, and start growing. It doesn't need much nutrient. It won't handle a lot of big barky things that will cover the seed and blocks out sunlight from it. So that's the main difference between your starter mix and your potting mix. This is a very simple starter mix. It may be expensive up front, but in the long run it is much cheaper because I've used just a little out of all these bags, and what I got there, it is like maybe 2 of that potting mix bag that is down there, and that potting mix bag, it's almost $9 for that potting mix bag, and I just use a little of what I had here and make a starting mix that was maybe about half the price or less than half the price of that. So you can go ahead, you can purchase these in bulk and start. If you're not doing a whole lot of seed, it would be much easier for you to go and much more convenient for you to go and just buy a small starting mix. So in Central Florida, we're not quite there as yet for most of our fall seed starting. However, we can go ahead now and start tomatoes and a few other crops from seed, which I'll be starting this week from seed also. I'll be taking you guys along and showing you guys how I do my seed starting. Also, the channel has hit 10,000 subscribers, and I want to say a big thank you to all of you out there. Whether you're a subscriber, just a viewer, or a commenter, I want to say a big thank you, and we'll just continue pushing. We don't know our next number, but we'll continue pushing and go along and try to create meaningful content for you guys to learn and can execute in your gardens also. So continue to watch. It's gardening time for us down here again, and I can share it with the world. If you're in certain parts of the world, I know it's winter for you guys right now, but you can apply what I am doing when it's your time of year to do what I am doing right now. So for now, you guys can watch along, learn something, put something in your back pocket, and when it's your time, you can execute. There are a lot of benefits, and I know I'm gonna miss a lot in this video, but I can't stuff everything into one video. So whatever I'm missing, you guys can just let us talk about it in the comment section. That's it from CountryMarro. God bless you all. See you in the next one. Happy gardening. Cheers.